Hello, this is Matt Vasquez with AS Media. Today I'm going to be doing the how does your product represent a particular social group's evaluation question. We only had one character in our final version of the production who was extremely stereotypical. We deliberately made him as stereotypical as possible, follow as many conventions surrounding that character's stereotype. We made him a stereotypical nerd. How we did this was we did it through both spoken ability as well as how he looked, what kind of things he would say, the mise-en-scène elements around him, as well as the camera angles. Starting off with how we made him look was we had a T-shirt which had a popular, it had a Star Wars Wookiee on it, which is a very easily recognizable nerdy connotation. Very stereotypical that nerds like Star Wars and such, but also easily recognizable to people that might not necessarily like nerdy things. We also dressed him up in bright blue jeans. The connotation was quite light. That helped feed into the comedy aspect, as it would allow the feeling that it was a comedy come across more, as it's more vibrant and bright and generally more cheerful. Same with having the blue shoes, which that just adds to it because it's a nice colour for giving it positive connotations. Having an actor that had red hair kind of helped, as that's a stereotype, unfortunately, for kind of if you look at Napoleon Dynamite and other films like that, a redhead character kind of always comes across as a little bit socially awkward or a little bit outcast-like, which kind of feeds into the nerd stereotype. Glasses, that helps make him look and seem more intelligent. I say him, that mean me, but to make him look more intelligent, it's also a stereotypical feature of a nerd, having glasses. So it made me look smarter and also fed into the piece more. What else do we? With the camera shots, we had a couple of shots where we made him look quite, I'd say clumsy. Then we used that chance to show him as he declined in power steadily throughout the opening sequence. So at the start, we have a shot of him coming down the stairs, and he's in his home, he's in his comfort zone, so he's got a higher status. So him coming down the stairs kind of signifies in a way that him conforming to having to get up and stuff. Similar thing when I'm walking down a ramp and we have a panning shot of that. That's again to show him as he kind of builds his confidence up. It's the usual routine. He knows the pattern, which we then immediately counter by having the disc scratch play and the music cut out, which adds to both the comic effect, but it also shows his coming back down to reality, that he isn't the most dominant of characters. Where we use a kind of like a status shot, we have a shot of the camera leaning down on an angle slightly, looking down to him, as we have a match on action of him getting up to show that he's lost some of his power, as well as having a shot of his foot to kind of show just how low he's gone, having a shot of the ground itself. And then later shots where he's seen from a distance, so it makes him seem less important despite being the main character. There's also hints at it through just dialogue and such, which we mix in with the mise-en-scène elements, like the messy bedroom that paints unhygienic, stereotypical teenager. The Clearasil bottle represents that he's not very hygienic, maybe or is for that matter, but greasy faced, kind of stereotypical nerd with loads of spots and things, that he wouldn't require that. Also, Mountain Dew is a popular drink, so it's a popular energy drink, and often stereotypically nerds drink a lot of highly caffeinated drinks and such. So it just fed into that. It also means that we also had the messy floor, which was one to paint him in an unhygienic light, but also to show that he doesn't really care about his personal hygiene or the state he lives in. He's much more casual about that. We did briefly counter that to an extent when we had him open the wardrobe. We had, in almost an OCD kind of fashion, like the shirts and t-shirts laid out in a perfect order that he'd systematically worked out, just to show that he was kind of, I don't know, weird to an extent with what he found acceptable and unacceptable about states of living. With the it's like, oh Jesus Christ, what did I do last night? Oh wait, sit around and play video games. That quote was added in deliberately to kind of hint at other stereotypes that we looked at as we worked on making him as far from stuff like the stereotypical jock and stuff, because we had them in our original version, like different stereotypes of characters, where we had jock and at one point a romance interest and stuff. We looked at the stereotypes for that. Didn't make it into the final cut, but we used like that what we learned from that to paint the opposite picture on him, and so that was just kind of hinting at how far he is from the other groups. That there's a lot of stereotyping about teenagers, say, drinking and such, and so it's like it's a subtle hint to show how far he is from what a stereotypical view of teenagers would be considered as normal or accepted, and to show how distant he is from that. We paint him as socially inept, hence the whole "you sexy stuff," which paints him in a comical light as well, but it also just shows how far he is from being normal, really. We painted him as quite a cynical character as well, and that entire social group, we paint them as kind of cynical, hence the whole what was it? And that's why you don't have a girlfriend immediately after things. So it kind of shows that he's got an acceptance, and that they have a general acceptance of kind of where they are in social stature, which is a little bit bitter, but not to an extreme point that it takes away from the comedic value, but it just kind of throws in a more realistic kind of feel to it. We paint him as clever, obviously, hence the whole glasses, and I use stuff like if I had a sense of charisma and I don't know some of the word, but we tried to big up his vocab a little bit. But because it was in his head, he would say stuff that he normally wouldn't, which is stereotypical for nerds. That's why we had a little bit of profanity and such in there, because chances are you'd be a lot more willing to use that if no one could hear it than you would generally. We do paint him as quite whiny, which is why he complains a lot, like alarm clock. As he gets up, he kind of like moves his eyes to the side and such, like the slow blinking. It's like shows his irritation, and then the for sake and such, which really just highlights how whiny the stereotyping character is. We paint him as quite sheltered to an extent. He seems very happy with his room. He didn't really go anywhere else. It was just room, kitchen, door, leaves. So he's like, he doesn't really wander outside of his like set routine. They're very, in the stereotype, very sheltered, but also like focused. That doesn't really want things to change. Are very for the routine and to just stick with that. We do paint him as weird. It's the whole "you sexy beast" line and talking about Django and stuff, which was kind of our way to date the movie to an extent. It's kind of people can go, oh yeah, I watched that movie and stuff, and it just means that it's like in the moment, people watching it will be like, oh yeah, it's just a kind of market really. We do paint him as lonely. hence why he's on his own throughout the entire thing, and that's why he has to talk in his head, because it's like, and why he almost talks to another version of himself. He's mildly schizophrenic thinking about it now, but he's not actually. But it just kind of shows how his division from, just normal society, and the fact that he's got no one there to talk to. That's why it's pretty much an empty house. So he's a very, very lonely character. The whole stereotype tends to be very solitary, only having one or two true friends, which was in our main version. He was only going to have one friend. Main version, I mean the old version, but we ended up cutting that because we felt that, I felt that the scene changes. We changed too many scenes in the old version, and so the new version focused very much on just the one character, and it's like his daily routine, because you don't have that many scene changes in like the first 3 opening minutes of a film, especially not comedy. It's very character focused. If you look at like American Pie's opening, it's like a 3 minutes and such like that. So we looked at comedies and how they represented people, especially in stuff like Napoleon Dynamite, which features nerds. Weird Science was a very good one that we used, but that's how we represent our particular social groups in our film. We only represent one in the final version, but we did look at others. And that's it. Thank you for listening. This is Matt Vaslin's AS Media Blog on the evaluation question: how does your product represent particular social groups? Thank you very much.